Now here's the greatest piece of advice that any human being could ever receive. I know that sounds a little bit on the conceited side, but it is the most important advice that you could ever get about worry. Listen carefully. It makes no sense to worry about the things that you have no control over, because if you have no control over them, it makes no sense to worry about them, right? If you have no control over something, getting older or dying or getting into heaven or whatever it may be, then worrying about it isn't going to do you any good. So it makes no sense to worry about the things you have no control over, because if you have no control over them, it makes no sense to worry about them. And it makes no sense to worry about the things that you do have control over, because if you've got control over them, it makes no sense to worry about them. And there goes everything you could ever worry about in your life. If you don't have control, you relax and you flow and you let it go. You just let it go. Worrying about something you have no control over makes absolutely no sense. And if you do have control over it, then take control. Whatever it is that you want to do, if you're afraid of flying in an airplane, you have control over that. There are trains available, there are cars available, there are courses and ways to go about learning how to eliminate your fear of flying, and so on. So you can either do something about it, or you can choose not to do something about it. And either way, it isn't going to make any difference in your life if you choose to worry. It just doesn't help anything. So once you learn that, you can begin to assess this whole business of why you would choose guilt or worry in your life. And again, you look back over and over and over again at it, and you dissect it and you tear it all apart, and you go to your analyst and you spend 1,000 years in therapy, and you find out that everything that you experience in your life, you experience in the present moment, the working unit of your life, and you experience it in the now for a reason. If you choose guilt, or if you choose worry, you cannot be active and creative and fulfilled and changing and doing all kinds of good and exciting things for yourself in your life now if you are occupying your now with worry and guilt. And if you think that worry is something that you just inherited, or it's something that your parents passed on to you, and it's something that you just can't do anything about, begin to practice. Do things like I always tell people, just worry. Just sit there. I used to tell my patients over and over again, just sit there and worry. Show me what you're doing when you're worrying. And you begin to see how silly it is. It's just a mental exercise that is all caught up in this silliness. And all the things that you ever worry about. There's a wonderful old saying that says, I'm an old man and I've had many troubles, most of which have never happened. And the most of which have never happened is all the worries. You get all these worries and you see them coming at you and you, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? I'm going to get audited by the IRS. I remember the first time I ever got audited by the IRS, and I talked about it, and I was playing this same silly game, worrying about it and whatever. And then I went through and it was a very pleasant experience. And I actually ended up getting a little bit more money, a little more of a refund. All of this concern, all of this time, all of this energy over something that wasn't, and it's happened to me many times. I've been through that process, and I don't worry about those things anymore. Now I have people in my life who handle those things, and I don't occupy my mind with that. And I do the same thing with my children, and I have 7 beautiful children, and I watch them grow up, and I know that there's all kinds of pitfalls and things out there that can have, but I can't keep my eye on every one of my children all day long when they're in school or when they're in their jobs or when they're in their relationships or whatever. I simply can't do that. So I have the choice. Am I going to sit around all day long and worry about each one of those children and whether or not they're going to be in any danger? Or am I going to just raise them to be as careful and productive as they possibly can, and know that I can't do anything about that? And this isn't to say that I'm unconcerned. It is to say that I refuse to use my life filling it up with worry over things that I can't do anything about. I just can't go that way. And you don't have to either.